This is MJ. I'm a writer, artist, and podcaster, and this is my fully operational analysis of The Mandalorian Chapter 8, which is called Redemption. So this is Season 1, Episode 8. It's called Redemption, like I said. It was directed by Taika Waititi, who played IG-11, or did the voice of IG-11 at any rate, and it was written by one Jon Favreau. So, I have to say, I like this episode. It was very good. Lots of fun action, lots of interesting things happen in it. We get to see Mando's face. We get to see the death of the blowing up, the self-destruction of IG-11 that we were promised in the first episode. Kind of bookends in that way. And we get to see Mando flying with his jetpack, which is pretty awesome, or the Rising Phoenix, as the Mandalorians call it. So that was super, super interesting. I have a quibble with the episode, and it's going to be that. And it's actually a quibble with the series altogether. I dislike the reveal that the Mandalorian is a foundling to his new buds, Grieve and I want to keep calling her Kara, but that's not her name. The Drop Trooper. Shock Trooper, Drop Trooper, whatever her name is. Kara, yeah. Which, it was interesting. I think when Moff Gideon was flexing, he used everybody's full names, and I think her name is Kara Synth, which is pretty cool. And she's from friggin' Alderaan, man. That's super awesome. I really like that detail. I love when we get to meet Alderaanians who aren't Leia, and I just always think it's fun. Anyway, I'm kind of geeky over Alderaan, but you can hear about that another time. Anyway, I really. Like I said, I really enjoyed this episode, but I disliked the reveal, and I disliked the interspersing or the doling out of the Mando's backstory where he was a foundling taken in. The only thing I liked about it was just because I felt like it was unnecessary. It was unnecessary and it was contrived. Aren't all stories contrived? Isn't all media? Yes, everything's contrived, but this was especially contrived to me because it just felt like it kind of messed with the pacing and didn't really add much to it. There was the mystique in the first episode. I think we get to see some Beskar being smelted and forged in the first episode. It could have just been this. No, it was the first episode because there were no women in The Mandalorian episode 1, except for the woman who plays a huge role in the Mandalorian society. Anyway, so we got that flashback, and I just wish it had been. Why not show the entire thing? Bump up the runtime of the episode a few minutes and show the entire thing up into him being carried off by a Death Watch person. It was a big reveal probably for Clone Wars fans. I don't know who else it was a big reveal for. It wasn't a mystery. It wouldn't have ruined anything to see that he was taken in by Death Watch. And then, the history of Mandalore is murky. According to Mr. So-and-so, the old guy, the Mandalorians revolted, or I guess Gideon talked about it, the Night of 1,000 Tears, which that's super awesome. I really like the little glimpses we get of Mandalorian culture, like how they name things and what things impact them, and like the kinds of, not inflection points, but like waypoints that they have in their history and in the narrative of their people. And anyway, when he mentioned that seemed pretty interesting, but they reinforced what Werner Herzog's character said, that the Mandalorians fought against the Empire. They resisted the Empire. And, I mean, they had Super Troopers and Rebels, so I don't know how hard they fought. Maybe they fought at the beginning, but Rebels, of course, takes place, 15 years or so after Revenge of the Sith. So it's very possible that by that time they had already quelled the Mandalorian Rebellion and brought the Mandalorians to heel through the Mandalorian Purge. But, that's just details I don't have. I'd love to see more of that story at some point. Anyway, it didn't do anything for me. And in fact, it kind of took away that, so we as an audience have learned this throughout the series. The people don't know him. Like, he spent, 3 or 4 weeks with Kara, and he's been working with Grief Karga for a while. And I don't know that it added anything to have them. You were a foundling, just like this thing's a foundling to you. Like, really? Like, who cares? I didn't really get an emotional impact from them. Finding out that he, was an orphan and taken in by the Mandalorians as well. What I got that was a big deal to me, was all the interaction with the armorer. And I wanted to be called the Forger. I think Forger sounds so much cooler. Although maybe it's because it has a connotation of being fake, because, forging documents or whatever. But anyway, I think the Forger is just like, it's a great name. Anyway, by her fight scene, by the way, with those stormtroopers was just awesome. Anyway, but yeah, her doling out more information to him and just like enforcing, like, look, this is the way. This is how it is spelled out. And it interests me because my religious studies, like, there is the way, there's halakha, there's what the Bible says, and then there's what people who study the Bible say the Bible says, or what they've interpreted from it in saying, like, this is our sacred text, and it has holes in it, or it's like a skeleton, and we build upon that skeleton to say, like, because this is what it says here, because Jacob was touched by the angel when they were wrestling, and it dislocated his socket, his hip socket. We don't eat filet mignon because there's a nerve that runs through. The sciatic nerve runs through there, and that's what was inflamed or whatever and hurt when the angel touched him before, it let him go. And or even at that point, he didn't let it go. But anyway, so, like, the way is derived from things that have happened in the culture of your people, in the past of your people, and stories have been built up around those things, and those inform what you do. But there are people who are part of a people and who don't know the history necessarily, don't know all the intricate details, and then there are those who know a lot of it because they work with it every day. Like, there was a reference made to, like, the craftsmanship of the armorer's work, and I would think that along with forging the armor and the weapons, that the armorer also is told stories, and that these stories carry meaning with them. Like, why else is it called the Rising Phoenix? Well, maybe in Mandalore's history there was an actual phoenix that they used. Maybe they hunted it to extinction. Maybe it was killed by an enemy because it made them so effective, and then they made their own phoenix, and it was the Rising Phoenix because it will help them rise above the limitations that their enemy put on them. So anyway, there are stories that exist within cultures to teach lessons and to pass histories down and things like that. And I just think it's interesting that along with those stories, there's practical things. It's like, okay, because these things happen in this story, we do things this way. Like, there has to be a reason for the way and why, they don't reveal their faces, after they've sworn the oath or whatever it was called, of the way of the Mandalorian or whatever. But anyway, that's what really got me. Seeing the full revelation that there was a, super battle droid, I think that's what they're called, that was trying to kill him, and then Mando came in with Death Watch, and then, killed it, and then took him away, and, took him in, and, it doesn't really do anything for me. What one thing it tells me, and it wouldn't have made a difference if it told me that in the beginning of the series or the end of the series, is that perhaps this sect of the Way, which is funny because that's actually like a religious designation for Jesus followers, like the early Nazarene believers, I'll call them that, because of my particular religious outlook on life, or interpretations, I guess you could say. So it's very possible that these Mandalorians that Din was raised by were an outgrowth of, or were perhaps what was left of, Death Watch. And that's interesting. They're more traditional, more militant Mandalorians. Those Death Watch, though, took off their helmets all the time. I don't know if it counts that, like, Pre Vizsla was a like double agent, sort of. He was in the ordinary society, but then he was also, all being, Death Watch guy in, off on Concord Dawn, or whatever the moon is called. Anyway, Concordia, is that what it is? I don't remember. It's been a long time since I've seen those episodes. But anyway, I don't know if you're allowed to do that, if that is part of the Way or not. But regardless, it's interesting. So, like, I don't know. Like I said, I enjoyed all the stuff. IG-11 sacrificing himself was wonderful. It was very emotional. I love how Mando didn't want him to do it, or Din didn't want him to do it. And, like, that's all super interesting. I love the growth and the development that's happened between the two of them, over the... I mean, really, it was just last episode and this episode. But it felt like a lot. And, I don't know, just IG-11 was charming, making jokes. Like, I'm a nurse droid. I can tell you are sad. I'm monitoring your voice. and then like the joke about his head and stuff. Like that was all fun. So I mean, it's another thing that has good stuff, but I just wanted to highlight those gripes because yeah, it's good. It's been good for 8 episodes. But I just wanted to point out and kind of ask questions about like why were these certain things done that don't really make sense to me, and I'm pointing them out because they don't have an emotional impact on me, and it doesn't really fit to me to have those there. So anyway, that's pretty much all I have to say. Check out mgmuniverse.com/FO for my fully operational analysis of a bunch of Star Wars stuff. There's some Star Wars books there. There's the Clone Wars Season 7, and there's other stuff. You'll be able to find the rest of my analysis of Mando Season 1, and then Season 2 is, I'm going to start on that pretty much right away. So it should be a flood of Mando for a little while, and then I'll go back to other stuff. So I'm looking forward to Claudia Gray's book. I'm going to be covering the High Republic stuff, so you can check that out. Anyway, you can also just check out the rest of mgmunoz.com. Like I said, I'm a writer, I'm an artist, I'm a podcaster, so you'll find lots of stuff. I talk about tokusatsu and comics and other things that you can enjoy, and that I enjoy, and that's why I talk about them, because they're fun. But that's all I have to say, so until next time, take care, folks.